this is Jenny from A Journey with Jenny, and I'm really excited today because I'm going to be featuring on today's Crazy Grateful Asians episode, Yi, who I met through Starting Block when I was at Starting Block last year in New York City, where she was a mentor. So super excited to have you here with me and with my audience. So excited to learn about your story. Could you just tell us a little bit, like, how did you grow up?
Cool. Thanks for having me, Jenny. Hi. I grew up in Mongolia. That's where I was born.
Wow, that's amazing.
And then
I didn't even know that. This is so cool.
And then my family moved to Shenzhen, which is all the way to the southeast part of China.
Yeah.
To a huge city. And then I had to learn Cantonese all over again. It just felt very much of an experience moving to the US.
Yeah.
So,
What was your first language?
Mandarin Chinese.
Okay.
Then I learned Cantonese because some of the kids in school would make fun of me in Cantonese because I didn't understand the language.
Right.
So I learned it really fast.
Yeah.
So that, okay, you could no longer do that. And then when after getting to college, I got really bored. I got a really good college in China.
Oh.
That was very easy to just hang around. It was
Yeah.
hard to get in, but afterward it was kind of boring.
Oh my goodness.
So I needed some more challenge, and I decided to study abroad. So I decided to move to the US by myself.
Oh wow.
So I first moved to Tennessee.
Really? What made you choose Tennessee of all places?
First of all, I didn't know the US very well.
Yeah.
By the time I applied, most schools have already closed their applications.
Oh, okay.
So my mom
Yeah.
has a friend in Tennessee saying, I know a school there that deadline's late, so come here and then transfer.
Okay.
So afterward, I transferred to the Ohio State
Yeah.
University, and then a few years later, I moved to New York by myself.
Wow.
Later, my boyfriend joined.
Yeah. And like, when did you study English? Like, were you fluent in English when you came?
I knew English in school, from
Yeah.
school, but it's similar to like people studying Spanish
Yes.
in high school here. Using it is really challenging. When I first came here, I didn't know how to say broccoli or laundry or
Yeah.
shampoo or body
Right.
wash, and it took me a while to order at Subway.
Yes.
And I no longer eat at Subway. Full disclosure. I've grown since then.
Yeah.
But yeah, it took me some time to learn all the sauce
Right.
names. And everything.
How long have you been in the US now?
It's just been my 10-year anniversary.
Oh my goodness. Wow, 10 years. Do you have plans to move back, or like, do you like it here?
I particularly love being in New York.
Yeah.
This is a place where I can be myself, and I can't say that in all places in the U.S. And I really like a lot part about individualism and the women empowerment
Yes.
movement.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have plans to move back to China.
Yeah.
It's my dream to live around the world.
Yes.
I want
Yes.
make everywhere and nowhere my home.
Yeah.
I want to move to different places, learn the local language, make
Mm.
local friends, make a place like home, and then move somewhere else and do this all over again. So when I'm 90 years old, I can point to a globe and say, yeah, there's no place that feels foreign.
Yes.
Everywhere is like home.
Yeah, I think that's really lovely. So you were in Ohio, and then you came to New York City. What has your experiences been like? Like, what was it like coming from China and coming here? What was your experience like at school and then transitioning to work?
I guess a lot. That it took me some time to learn the culture.
Yes.
Because the two, from China to the US, the culture is so vastly different. There are a lot of things that I've taken for granted from China
Yeah.
that I had to relearn. From things from like how do people do regular laundries, or like here we don't hang clothes
Yes,
outside.
No. Right.
Where do you dry the clothes? And
Yeah.
I had to share washers with other people in the
Right.
laundromat. Like from really basic things
Yeah.
day to day that I had to
Right.
learn from scratch.
Yeah.
To how to say things, how to like answer to the question, "What's
Right.
up?" Like,
Yeah.
I did not prepare for that at all.
Right.
And of course, to more advanced questions like, what's the norm in school to work. I remember going to my first career fair in my jeans and sneakers and a backpack because I had no idea how that worked.
Yeah. So nobody told you that you should dress up and like bring a briefcase and like resumes and stuff like that.
I'm sure professors mentioned it. I think at that time I understood half of what they said.
Yeah.
In the first place, and then none of my family member know what to tell me.
Yeah.
I can just go back and say I'm going to a career fair. Any advice?
Right.
So it's all I'm just gonna research myself or just show up and see what works.
Yeah. So how did you navigate that all by yourself? Like, how did you decide like where to work?
It's a lot of a big process.
Yeah.
The whole of my career, how it shifted. From the beginning, I just show up and figure it out. Like for the beginning, I realized that it's important for me to learn the language.
Yes.
So every night, when all my friends are partying, I go to different clubs and organizations to make a point to talk to people. And later, I joined the improv speech club.
Oh, amazing!
So that I can learn.
That's really good.
My hands were sweating just thinking about going off, and then until the point that I could actually make a speech. And later I started learning improv acting just so that I can do better.
Right, feel natural in different situations.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then, so in terms of career, what really inspired me is I wanted to make a difference. Growing up in Mongolia, I've seen a lot of poverty. I've seen a lot of people at a disadvantage without the support of welfare. That's really challenging, and that was hard for a kid. Just for me to experience that and couldn't do anything. I could just cry. I felt really powerless, and so I wanted to myself that I want to be in a position to support others, empower others. So in college, I started searching for that answer. That I thought I wanted to do business. And then in my first year, I took a trip to Tibet and used my first scholarship to buy some school supplies and to take to the kids, to the local kids. What really shocked me was on the road, there were kids on the road stopping, and then we'll give them supplies. They're really happy, and I thought, I did really well. But for a while, I was like, something was off. Then I realized, it hit me, it's a school day. What are these kids doing?
Yep, I've definitely felt that before. When I went to Cambodia, and like all these kids are just begging, and I'm just like, it breaks my heart because they think that being out there asking, begging for money is like better than being educated because they don't see a path for them.
And I realized that just me thinking I did a great thing by giving them free stuff was actually encouraging them to perpetuate that. Because in the end, we ran out of supplies. They were taking money for a cigarette that was okay too. And I realized that that model was broken, just purely giving for free. And then, so I came back searching. In business school, I came to contact the concept of social entrepreneurship, where it really shocked me about providing real value to people and giving them sustainable value, and most importantly, self-sufficiency. And to give them a living, so they are not just taking things for free. And that's, I realized like that's how it empowers a lot of us. That it doesn't always feel good to always just take. Well, like we give people the opportunity to actually provide for themselves. So I wanted to be an entrepreneur.
So what was your business?
After being a consultant for some time, I joined a startup. It's an advertising technology startup called Dashbit. After a few months, when we joined, the founders were doing very well. They're ready to fold the company.
Okay, I see.
So two colleagues and I bought out the company. And bought out the old founders and restructured the company and wipe out. We started the business model. We're growing really, really fast. In 6 months, we were break even.
Oh, awesome.
Without any sales or marketing, our revenue was doubling every month.
Wow.
I was personally responsible for scaling up the operations and product piece. And it was a lot. You just have to learn from the spot, using first principles to figure things out.
And then what were you guys, what was the service product you were offering?
We were B2B, providing for publishers who want to get into the space of video advertising.
Okay,
to give them the tool to optimize their revenue. And so we developed an algorithm that became the bread and butter of the business.
Yeah. And so, like, how do you feel like being Asian, being an Asian woman, but being like, you know, running your own business? Like, how was the impact of your identity like in this work?
It's challenging. It was a lot of navigation, a lot of learning and unlearning.
Yeah.
By that I meant growing up, a lot of my environment is telling me that girls need to shrink down. You're not supposed to make too much money. You're not supposed to be so loud and have opinions or be too successful. And so part of it is my identity challenging that notion, saying, you know what, I can run my own business, and be successful at it too. And part of it is also the big environment where I'm in, where I show up. For example, I was representing my company at some tech startup conferences. And at that time, my company was making $50-60 million per year.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
And hugely profitable. And then when I showed up, I was the only Asian woman in the room of 200 men. And pretty much none of them were interested in looking at me or talking to me. Most of them felt like, oh, you're so cute. You're like a young Asian girl being here joining the big boys club. And then, or the people interested in talking to me, a lot of times they're trying to flirt with me. And so I've been navigating, learning that, especially growing up in China, that I am part of the majority. Coming here, realizing, you know what, oh, being me, being just how I look actually means something else.
You stand out. Like, people look at you differently, and they don't see you in the same way that they might see somebody else if you were male or not Asian or
So once I went to the subway with my husband, and then there were two women in front of the escalator, and they were blocking the escalator, and we were in a hurry. So I stood behind them. I said, "Excuse us." And then as we were about to pass, they turned around and saw me, and then they gave me the curse words. And then I was like, oh, that was a big surprise. And then my husband, who is from Norway, who's white, and just like, what did you say? And then he was really shocked too. So I asked him, like, hey, how often did people do that to you on the subway? He says, never. Not as I remember ever. But to me, that happens on a monthly basis. Something happened that was rude, that was out of nowhere, that was uncalled for.
And I mean, you were talking about this a little. I mean, how does that make you feel, and like, what does it make you want to do and be? And like, you know, you're like, there's definitely a difference, right? Like, as women, we do fear certain things. We have to be a little bit more conscious when we're walking at night or different things like that like other people don't have to worry about sometimes. So like, how does that impact you? Like, what are some of the things you feel like you've done because of it, or like grown because of it too?
Yes, certainly a lot of growth. I think at the beginning, I took it really hard. I took it very personally. That I felt like there was something wrong with me, where I came from. So it took me, at the beginning, I'm trying to, like, I refuse to tell people where I'm from. Like, the association with China and how Chinese are a certain way. And I felt I was diminished as a person. So it took me a lot of time to wrestle with the idea that, for example, when last time we went to the South, and that was before I had just regular, more traditional Asian hair, that we were on the bus, and then we sat down in the back of the bus. There were very few people, and then one old lady saw us, and then stood up, glared at me, and walked straight to the front of the bus, said bent down and drew a cross in front of her chest.
Wow.
And I almost burst into laughter, just because for the first time I realized, wow, just being how I look, like how people just judge me by how I look, and diminish me to that as opposed to who I am as a human.
Yeah.
But over time, I've learned to make peace with that. Like actually be proud of where I came from.
Yeah.
That just a whole journey really gave me a lot of treasures that I otherwise wouldn't have. And it also showed me a lot of the ways. Like showed me how the true friends that I have will really value me as who I am.
Yes.
Not because I'm Chinese. We're
Right.
not Chinese or whatever what it is. It's really.
So do you want to talk a little bit about like why did you decide to dye your hair? What does it mean for you? Because it's really cool, right? But like, of course, people judge, right? They look at our appearances and they just assume certain things.
I guess I can share a little bit about my hair, the story of my hair. So I just after all these experiences in business, and I realized that being a woman, being an Asian woman, meant something else. That it get into the way of what I really want to do, want to shine. And so I started watching shows that with really inspiring women. So when I was watching House of Cards, I saw Claire Underwood's hair, short hair, that was really inspiring. I don't identify some of her ruthless values, but I was inspired by her power and how her bravery and courage to own her own power.
Yes.
And so I was like, I wanted that. So I cut my hair short because of her.
Yeah.
And then I was inspired by Meryl Streep, where in Devil Wear Prada, where she has this cold blonde hair.
Yeah.
She's badass. So I was like, I want that. So I colored my hair silver.
Yeah.
After a while, I was like, you know what? I like blue.
Yeah.
Like blue hair is also cool. It took me a while to get here, because coloring blue hair in where I grew up, how my family or the traditional value, I could be seen as someone who is with a gang or who is not really meant for business.
Right.
But in the end, I realized this is more about my own self-expression than how I might be perceived by certain people who can't take it. And they just make peace with that. Now I really like how they judge my blue hair. Ever since I changed my hair, I noticed that I haven't got bullied on the subway.
Interesting. It makes you look tougher.
Not at all. And my theory, of course, just my personal theory, is that when we're on the subway, especially during commute hours, everyone is really focused on getting there. So we, in the slow, like in the fast thinking mode, where we're just judging everyone based on their labels so that we can get through our day quickly. But with change of hair, my theory is that they have to pause to think, what are you, before they can apply a certain label on me. And I think that pause really gave the moment where people can say, you know what, oh, you're Asian, but you're different. Can give me the pause to not, to really not see me more as a human. It's especially true because I dyed my hair that first week. I don't think my behavior changed at all. That first week I noticed a big difference, and my commute has never been easier.
Wow, that's so interesting, right? It's just like one aspect of yourself, and all of a sudden you're treated differently. So how often do you actually catch up? Where are your parents? Are they in the U.S. or are they home? Like, where are they? How often do you interact with them? Like, what do they think about you living here?
Most of my family are all in China.
Okay.
My mom is really encouraging me. Of course, she misses me. The last time I went back was 2.5 years ago.
Wow.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
And I can talk to my dad. It's a challenging relationship. When I think a little part when I try to embrace who I am, he has a problem with that. just it won't work. It won't. If I call him up and forgive him for the years of abuse he gave me and my mom and my dogs, but in the end, like what he want to do is up to him. And it took me some time to make peace with that part of my past and to heal the trauma. And I realized I've grown stronger from it.
And thank you for sharing that, because it's like we sometimes have to go through these very difficult family or life situations, and makes us more powerful than not having gone through those experiences. So do you want to share a little bit what you were saying about like women's empowerment? Like what does that mean to you, and like how do you, like what was your personal transformation, and how like in what way do you act because this is important to you?
Growing up, there was a lot of girl shame. A lot of when I was growing up, there was no women around that are engineers, and I didn't think that was really the possibility. Now I work at a tech company in a tech role,
Right.
working with mostly men every day on technical issues.
Right.
And to me, that's really inspiring. But growing up, that was part of the challenge.
Yes.
That I remember on the street of in Mongolia, I could see these 90-year-old women with tiny feet, because they were still in the generation where you had to bind your feet or nobody would marry you.
Right.
I remember growing up saying, if it were up to me, I would not want to be married and refuse to do that. That's abuse.
Yeah.
On the other hand, of course, looking back, I was a child that's challenging a lot of times to go against society rules.
Yeah.
But I think there was some piece of me realized that was really wrong, and I was secretly inspired by Wu Zetian, who was the only women empress in the entire 5,000 years of Chinese history.
Yeah.
And I thought that, oh, she is a badass.
Yeah.
I want to be like her.
So what did you do to be more like her? Like what did she like empower you to be or do?
I think it goes back to like own our own power, and then it took me a while to recognize that.
Yeah.
For a while, I realized I just took what I did well for granted.
Yeah.
Like, oh, everybody can do that. It comes easy.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
And then over time, I realized a lot of times the things that come easy to me are not necessarily so easy for others.
Right.
Yes. That like I scaled our business up from 0 me to 10 people in a short amount of time. Built a process that sustained us for like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
When our business was doubling every month, in this first year, our revenue grew 70-fold. I held it up.
Yeah.
Not everyone can do that.
Right. Not everybody can do that. I mean, this failure rate for businesses is really high. So the fact that you did that really is like something that should be talked about more. Like this is incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So it took me a while to do that. Another part is like empathy. That I'm an empath, and the ability to feel more and make me feel like, is it wrong for me to feel that? And sometimes to get in touch with emotions more, to be in the shoes with the other person. And later over time, I realized that it's also power.
Yeah, it is. Like some people can perceive it as a weakness, right? But like the reality is like we can use it to our advantage as well.
Absolutely, and because I get to feel the other person, that's really motivate me to make a difference in other people's lives, and actually want to be there and be supportive. So that's a part of it, and then recognizing that, like the style difference, that I tend to be more collaborative as a leader,
right?
That may be different from others. A lot of times it comes as an advantage. That sometimes it may not always be recognized and may be taken for granted. And at the end of the day, what I learned is that it's important for me not to take it for granted.
Yes, 100%. So I want to ask you, I mean, what is your dream for yourself? Like, having had all these experiences, what do you feel like the most grateful for of what's made you who you are, and like where do you see yourself going?
Absolutely. I am truly grateful for Starting Block, for a group of amazing people, for a lot of my friends and family, for my husband. These people who stood by my side and keep telling me that be proud of who you are. Whenever I doubt myself, that they say, you know what, you're okay. Like your being is not wrong. And that in the end, I start to recognize that when 1,000 people that I admire so much keep saying, you're right here, stop thinking you're right here, and that give me the notification saying maybe these people I love and trust and admire are more right than the tiny me think. So that is has really empowered me to get here.
Yes, and that's so beautiful because, like, again, you can't even help it. Like, coming from your background, all these people who have, like, you know, bullied you or like said rude things to you, like it puts you down all the time, right? So like you're not so sure about yourself. But I love what you were saying about like having a community of people who believe this vision of who you are, and like you are amazing. So like I'm just so grateful to be able to have this conversation with you, for everything you shared, for everything you've done. So we're gonna do a couple of spitfire questions. There's just gonna be quick questions that you're gonna answer. They're just like fun and easy. So what's your favorite food?
My favorite food. I love Chinese food, but not the Chinese food that most people think.
Yeah.
Real Chinese food. Real Chinese food in China, because every places have completely different food.
Yeah.
So have an entire adventure to take. Wherever I travel, I thought I've tried it all, but no, it's not even close.
Yeah.
It's like a big Europe in China where you have all these cuisines that just completely opposite of things.
Yeah.
So much fun.
Awesome. So what's your favorite drink?
My favorite drink, green tea, all kinds of herbal tea.
Oh, awesome. Love tea. What's your favorite movie?
I don't think I have one. There are a lot of ones that inspire me. Green Mile makes me cry. I think that really inspired me quite a bit. A lot of, I like a lot of Japanese cartoons.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Fun.
What's your favorite book?
Anything by Brene Brown.
Oh,
About vulnerability.
Oh my God, love her so much.
Absolutely.
What do you think is your spirit animal?
Dolphin.
Why?
I love. So they're intelligent. They are playful. They're always so joyful, and they're so free in the ocean. And I love their collaboration of when they go fishing. They're having a great time, having fun, and that's what I want to be free and be joyful.
Amazing. And then what is your superpower?
My superpower, I think maybe two. So one is to really stand up to fear. That I'm terrified of heights, so I take up rock climbing. Terrified of public speaking, as you mentioned, so I do improv, speech, and comedy acting. So so anything that challenges my fear, I'm there.
Good.
I want to figure it out. Like there are trauma things that I'm terrified of. Let's do it.
Yeah,
Figure it out.
That's so hard for many people, so kudos to you for that.
And then the second part, I think there's break complicated things and make it simple and easy.
Yeah.
My current role as a product manager, that I have to do a lot of that. I just figure out what is the simple, elegant solutions to actually make things happen.
Awesome. So then my very, very last question for this is just, what is some words of wisdom or advice that you want to give to this community about being a crazy, grateful Asian? Like, what does it mean to you? What wisdom can you impart on them?
Work on self-compassion. And I think a lot of the things that we all always seek outside, externally, and then for love, for recognition, for support, I find that a lot of power comes from within. That if we can provide for ourselves, then it's a bonus when we can get externally. So whatever I can do to support you, Jenny, and everyone to find that power, to find your superpower, to find your own self-compassion.
Thank you so much, Yi. This was so beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. So fun.
Yeah. So I will link below some information about Yi so you can reach out to her. But yes, thank you so much for tuning in and for watching Crazy Grateful Asians.